Welcome back to America Right Now. I'm Tom Basile. Well, we are 10 days into this new year, and boy, are we off to a great start. As I've said before, America First means America leads, and leads in a way that clearly improves the long-term safety and security of the American people. We lead in our hemisphere. We lead on protecting people from drugs. We lead on combating communism. Yes, I know. The No Kings crowd is in the streets about America's extraction of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, and your woke sister-in-law with the blue hair is on oxygen over ICE, shooting a left-wing activist who failed to comply with law enforcement and tried to run over a federal agent. But I'm really bullish on this year so far. First of all, anytime our military goes in and kicks butt should really raise your spirits. It's always incredible to see our forces overwhelm the enemy and achieve their objectives, leaving other world leaders in fear or in awe of the reach and lethality of our fighting apparatus. Right on cue this week, of course, Democrats suddenly wrapping themselves in the Constitution to defend a dictator. But Americans should remember that the founders of our nation clearly believed that Congress lacked the institutional competency to both enforce the laws of the United States or conduct military or diplomatic operations. Congress funds the military, and it declares war in the event of the need for a long-term commitment of U.S. forces. Limited surgical use of our military and federal law enforcement to bring a fugitive and a terrorist to justice is not within the province of Article 1 of the Constitution, no matter how much Democrats and some Republicans claim it is. Over the last 2 decades, Central and South American nations like Venezuela have grown closer to America's enemies, working hand in glove to attack the United States through asymmetric tactics. You don't think this stuff is happening right under our noses? China operates a large spaceport and launching facility in Argentina today. Hezbollah operates with impunity in Venezuela. Cartels supported by China are producing the drugs that kill hundreds of Americans every single day. Trump's reaffirmation of America's commitment to securing our hemisphere is critical to our long-term interests, including reducing illegal immigration. Remember, the Biden administration claimed that climate change was the root cause of massive illegal immigration from Central America. You know what really is? Other than bloated welfare benefits for non-citizens here, brutal socialist dictators who crater their economies. Unemployment in Venezuela is greater than 50%. What we're doing means fewer illegals, fewer drugs, and saving lives. What Trump continues to do successfully is flex American muscle with clear objectives and benefits for the American people. That's very different than our entanglement in Iraq. I would know. I was there. It is a significant show of resolve, force, and discipline in line with our national responsibility as the leader of the free world. What a difference a year makes. You know, MAHA also continues to make big strides, even though liberal judges and the left are actively trying to stop it. This week, Secretary Kennedy announced major changes in the recommendations for childhood vaccinations. Today, our kids get some 80 doses of 17 vaccines before they're 18 years old. That's up from 23 doses of 7 in 1980. And some of them are completely unnecessary for healthy children, like the hepatitis vaccine. The Trump administration's measure, by the way, does not ban or outlaw vaccines for anyone. It just gives parents more choice in the matter. You want your kid to be a pincushion for dozens and dozens of drugs from an industry that was given immunity from liability for side effects back in 1986, you go right ahead. But the new list of recommendations, based in large part on many of our European counterparts, is now around 11 vaccines. The American Academy of Pediatrics, because it is a left-wing organization, is naturally beside themselves. And those are the same people, by the way, who think that little Johnny, who thinks Lucky Charms is a food group, can choose to have himself castrated and sterilized. The same people who oppose this stuff, folks, are the same people who are still wearing masks and getting COVID boosters 5 years after the pandemic. Also on the Healthier America front, the scam that has been the Carter-era food pyramid has finally come to an end with new guidelines from HHS. That's right, folks. The ridiculous recommendations to load up on carbs and grains and reduce protein and eliminate fats has finally been doused with some sanity. The new dietary recommendations flip the old pyramid, which was influenced heavily by the food industry, on its head. Watch.
60% to 70% of kids are getting their calories from ultra-processed foods. That's an epidemic. We now have a generation of kids addicted to refined carbohydrates, low in protein. These new protein guidelines are designed for American kids to thrive, and they're based on science, not on dogma.
Democrats want us to believe that the obesity and chronic disease epidemic is somehow just a coincidence. Eat real food, America. Eat meat and eggs. Get healthier. Here's another one. This week, President Trump announced that he's going to take steps to prevent big investors from buying single-family homes. Now, if you've tried to buy a house in a hot market recently, the prices have been likely driven up by the engagement of these firms with very deep pockets in the market. During the pandemic, investors buying homes accounted for more than 20% of all home sales in places like Houston, Miami, Phoenix, and Las Vegas. In 2024, analysis by the Government Accountability Office said large institutions own 25% of the rental homes in Atlanta, 18% in Charlotte. Trump's plan is to end the average American having to compete for a home with Wall Street. And one last thing. In New York, we've begun to watch the slow train wreck of socialism. It's going to be a tough 4 years for the denizens of the Big Apple. But I want you to think about it this way. Just like how exposure to viruses and bacteria can actually make your immune system stronger, philosophies like this one can have the same effect.
We've really treated property as an individualized good and not a collective good. And we are going to transitioning to treating it as a collective good and towards a model of shared equity will require that we think about it differently. And it will mean that families, especially white families, but some POC families who are homeowners as well, are going to have a different relationship to property than the one that we currently have.
People are waking up to the fact that that is not America. Sure, we have lots of work to do this year to make a more perfect union. But so far, not bad, America. Not bad. The left may want us to be miserable and angry, but Americans continue to prove that because of our faith and our freedom, we are far more resilient and hopeful than we often think we are.